This is Reviewer03, bringing you a review of Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate Universe. Why all three series in one review? Because I'm a lazy bastard. Any more questions? No? Okay, let's start with the backstory. Dozens of millions of years ago, there existed a highly advanced, yet at the same time surprisingly stupid race. They were called the Alterans, or Ancients, or Atlanteans. See? They were so stupid that they couldn't settle on one name. And because they were so stupid, they were kicked out from their galaxy by less stupid members of their species. Sometime later, they came to the Milky Way, where they built a galaxy-spanning empire connected through a Stargate network. But then they got space pox, and because they were a highly advanced yet highly stupid race, they were unable to contain the disease or find a cure. So they had to leave our galaxy as well. Sometime later, they came to the Pegasus galaxy, where they built yet another galaxy-spanning empire. But in their infinite stupidity, they accidentally created a race of life-sucking super vampires. And despite having a technological advantage of several million years, they lost the resulting war. In the end, the people of Galaxy number 1 were oppressed by the evil cousins of the Ancients, the people of Galaxy number 2 were oppressed by evil space snakes who used ancient technology to do so, and the people of Galaxy number 3 were degraded to snacks. So, after having screwed up 3 galaxies in a row, wait a second, they also created these deadly Lego bugs who destroyed the galaxy of those guys. So, after having screwed up 4 galaxies in a row, the Ancients decided to do the only smart thing in their entire history. They became a race of space ghosts before in their infinite stupidity they would destroy the entire fucking universe. Thousands of years later, the humans of Earth discovered the Stargate, and this is where the actual story begins. Okay, let's start with SG-1. Stargate SG-1 is set in the present-day Milky Way, and the story revolves around a brave team of Americans, and their heroic efforts to free the galaxy from the oppression of the Goa'uld. The main characters include Dr. Daniel Jackson, the crazy scientist who thinks that pyramids were landing platforms for alien spaceships. Next we have Samantha Carter, the dumb blonde who is so smart that these guys are jealous. Then we have Teal'c, the obligatory black guy. I mean the very important space alien black guy. Come on people, I'm not racist. I'm just a misanthrope. I hate all people equally. And finally we have the backbone of this series, Space MacGyver, also known as Colonel Jack O'Neill. Other important characters are Doc Freezer, General Hammond, Apophis, Anubis, and Ball. Okay, to describe the series in 3 words, it was splendid. It had great visual effects, a fitting soundtrack, great action, it was funny, smart, interesting, dramatic, and intense. In other words, it had all those things recent sci-fi series are lacking. Seriously, besides Babylon 5, no other sci-fi series out there will give you this amount of entertainment. Yes, the Star Trek series and Battlestar Galactica are good, but they are missing the wit, comedy, and sarcasm of these series. Just the connection between Egyptian mythology and the Goa'uld is so original that it's genius. Stargate was also one of the few sci-fi series which was set in a present day and not in some distant future, which was quite refreshing. So, even if you're not a sci-fi fan, the 8 seasons of Stargate SG-1 will still blow your mind. So I'm giving this series a... what? No. There never existed a Stargate SG-1 Season 9 and 10. That was just a fan-based parody. Alright, they existed. But they are the black sheep of the series. Why? Because the last 2 seasons introduced too much change too quickly. Season 9 starts with 4 completely new characters, while dumping 4 main characters of the previous 8 seasons. Then they turned the comedy from intelligent and sarcastic to goofy. And then the whole Egyptian mythology suddenly changes to English mythology, which doesn't fit into the universe established in the previous seasons. So I'm giving this show a very good 4.5 out of 5 points, because Season 9 and 10 really screwed up, and because Season 1 starts quite slow. But perhaps I'm too much of a hardcore fan, so if you want to talk with me about the last 2 seasons of Stargate SG-1, send me your address. I think I can find some time in my schedule to visit you, and if you think that Seasons 9 and 10 were good, well then I'm afraid that you have an uncurable mental illness, and I will gladly put you out of your misery. Next we have Stargate Atlantis, which is a spin-off series of the original Stargate SG-1. This series is set in the Pegasus galaxy and revolves around a multinational task force and their exploration of Atlantis, the lost city of the Ancients, and their battles against life-sucking super vampires called the Wraith. Now this series is one of the best spin-off series out there, because it does a really good job in standing on its own. And despite being a different series with a different setting in a different galaxy, it still feels like a Stargate series. Another great plus are the visual effects, which are impressive, the witty and sarcastic comedy, which is even better than in SG-1, and Rodney. The other characters like Dr. Weird, Shepard, Zelenka, and Beckett are quite good, and the creators made a very smart decision in replacing Ford with Ronan in the second season, but no one can rival the character of Dr. Rodney McKay. This character combines the typical brilliant, arrogant, and sarcastic scientist with a hypochondriac and incapable weirdo. What you get is one of the best and funniest characters ever created, portrayed by a brilliant actor. Unfortunately, this series has some flaws. It changes or gets rid of the main characters too often or too fast, and some episodes feel like clones of some SG-1 episodes. And it has an open ending. So I'm giving this series a good 4 out of 5 points. Last and least, we have Stargate Universe, also known as the show which destroyed 12 years of Stargate franchise in 12 weeks. Basically, the story revolves around a group of scientists and some military personnel who get stranded on an ancient starship. Now, this show was definitely the worst of the 3 series, because it was an abomination, a failed experiment. It didn't feel like Stargate anymore, but like a Star Trek, Stargate, Battlestar Galactica, Beverly Hills 90210 hybrid. First of all, these people get on a ship which is billions of light years away from Earth, yet they don't turn it around. They just keep on going away from the Milky Way. Then there were some other things, but most of that was just minor stuff. The real problem of SGU lies in the characters. They do everything in their power so that you hate them. I didn't like Colonel Psycho, who was beating up Rush like every second episode. I didn't like Lieutenant Naive, who most of the time had a facial expression as if he had no idea what was going on. I didn't like Sergeant Caveman, who looked and behaved like a caveman. I didn't like Chloe. I didn't like TJ. Hey, this woman doesn't even have a name. This show is sexist. And I didn't like Eli or those guys. I think the most likable character would be Rush, although most of the time he looks pissed off and shouts at other people. I also missed the comedy of the previous 2 series. There are some funny moments in SGU, but they can't compare to the intelligent comedy witnessed in the 2 other series. But despite having many flaws, SGU had some good aspects as well. It had great visual effects, the soundtrack was quite good as well, and despite its flaws, it managed to entertain you quite well from time to time. So I'm giving this series a solid 3 out of 5 points.